The Honolulu Police Department has a rich and unique history that traces back to ancient Hawaii. Prior to contact with the Western world, law enforcement in Hawaii followed the Hawaiian kapu system. Kapu dictated those places, things, and persons that were considered sacred according to the kapu kanawai, or divine law. The task of bringing criminals to justice was the responsibility of the king's executive officers, or ilamuku, and the iwi kuamo'o, the chief's head steward. Persons determined by these officers to have broken the laws of the kapu were taken before a chief for adjudication, which could include death. The unification of the Hawaiian Islands by Kamehameha the Great and the arrival of Westerners in the late 18th century brought many changes to Hawaii. In 1819, Kamehameha II abolished the traditional kapu system, ending the authority of the priesthood and removing the king's divine right to power. This opened the door to the development of a formal, written criminal code enacted in 1827 during the reign of Kamehameha III. The code prohibited murder, theft, gambling, fornication, prostitution, sale of liquor, and drunkenness. It also prescribed penalties for violators. By the mid-1800s, Hawaii had its first written constitution and first kingdom-wide constabulary, or law enforcement agency. The 1846 Act to organize the executive departments of the government created a marshal of the kingdom and sheriffs for each of the major islands, similar to the county jurisdictions in place today. As the population grew, so did social ills. Public drunkenness and reckless horseback riding were common. In 1851, Constable Ka'aulana, while attempting to break up a domestic argument, became the first law enforcement officer killed in the line of duty. In 1879, the police headquarters was located in a wooden building on the ocean side of King Street, between Nu'uanu and what would later become Smith Street. 5 years later, construction began on a new headquarters at the corner of Bethel and Merchant Streets. Just 3 months before the new station was completed, the King Street station burned to the ground in the Chinatown fire of 1886. More than 4 decades later, a substation would be built at the same location. At one time, the HPD headquarters occupied the former Sears department store on King Street before moving to its present location on Beretania Street in 1992. Following the overthrow of the Hawaiian monarchy in 1893, Hawaii was ruled by a provisional government. A year later, it became the Republic of Hawaii, and 4 years later, the Territory of Hawaii. In 1905, 4 county governments were established in the territory. Each would have its own police department, headed by an elected sheriff. The beginning of the Honolulu Police Department was slowly taking shape.
At the turn of the century, Hawaii's economy and population were bustling, largely due to the growing pineapple and sugarcane industry. In the 1920s, author Earl Durr Biggers visited Honolulu and learned of the exploits of Detective Chang Apana. Unlike his peers who carried guns, Detective Apana carried a horsewhip. Although only 5'3" and 145 pounds, he struck fear in criminals. During his career, he was stabbed 6 times, run over by a horse and carriage, thrown out of a second-story window, and single-handedly arrested 40 people during a gambling raid. Apana's larger-than-life exploits became the inspiration for Biggers' famous movie character, Charlie Chan. The tumultuous 1930s saw several high-profile incidents, including the Massey murder trial in 1931. Thalia Massey, the wife of Navy Lieutenant Thomas Massey, alleged that she had been raped by a gang of locals at Ala Moana Park. 5 men were arrested and tried, but the case ended in a mistrial. Lieutenant Massey and 2 other sailors kidnapped one of the defendants, Joseph Kahahavai, as Kahahavai was leaving the courthouse and killed him. The 3 sailors were tried and found guilty of manslaughter and sentenced to 10 years in prison. However, Governor Lawrence Judd intervened and commuted their sentences to just 1 hour. A public outcry ensued as the Governor's Advisory Committee on Crime was formed in the aftermath. the committee recommended the creation of a police commission whose purpose would be to appoint the police chief and to oversee police department operations. This action officially established the Honolulu Police Department on January 22, 1932, and heralded a new era in policing in Hawaii. Charles F. Weber was the Police Commission's unanimous choice for HPD's first chief of police, and he was given full authority to organize the department. After 7 months on the job, Chief Weber resigned and became a member of the Police Commission. This would lead to William Gabrielson's appointment of HPD's second chief, a title he would hold for 14 years. Chief Gabrielson's achievements included the creation of police beats, as well as the Traffic Violations Bureau and Juvenile Crime Prevention Bureau. While HPD's beginnings were relatively uneventful, things were about to change dramatically.
Following the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, Oahu's population doubled due to the presence of the armed forces. Despite the unprecedented increase, serious crime on the island decreased, mainly due to the imposition of martial law, blackout and curfew regulations, as well as a nearly 100% employment rate. Unfortunately for HPD, internal issues would soon surface. In the mid-1940s, the Honolulu prosecutor and attorney general investigated HPD for corruption, and several police officers were accused of protecting some of the gambling houses that had flourished in the city. This resulted in the conviction of one officer, numerous suspensions, and the resignation of Chief Gabrielson. Though this was a low point for the department, HPD would eventually emerge stronger, reorganized, and with a new set of values. Shortly thereafter, William Ho'opai was appointed as the department's third chief of police. He created an elite unit of officers whose primary purpose was to combat gang violence. Their role was eventually expanded to include SWAT, bomb, and helicopter units. Today, this division is known as the Specialized Services Division. 2 years later, Dan Leo was appointed the fourth chief of police. Service, honor, integrity became the department's motto. He established the highly popular Police Activities League. Over the years, PAL has expanded from the traditional sports to include canoe paddling, culinary arts, and robotics. Hawaii, like the rest of the nation, was faced with anti-war protests, drug abuse, and general disrespect for law and order in the 1960s. New approaches to police work were needed, including a more educated police force. Chief Leo supported the creation of the new field of study, police science, at the University of Hawaii. Today, it is known as the Administration of Justice Program. A cadet training program for recent high school graduates was also started, enabling 20-year-olds to enter the police academy as early as possible. The Canine Corps was formally recognized by the department in 1961. The unit began with donated dogs that were trained by off-duty officers on a homemade agility course. Today's canines are highly trained to detect drugs and explosives, apprehend suspects, and search for missing persons. As Hawaii became a popular tourist destination, it also became a cooling-off area for criminals on the run.
Francis Kealoha became the chief of police on Christmas Eve, 1969. He quickly achieved notoriety when he launched a large-scale covert operation to attack rising property crime and illegal drugs. Dubbed Operation Hukilau, it used a false storefront to take in stolen property. More than 100 people were arrested, and 500 property crime cases were solved during an 18-month period. Operation Green Harvest focused on the eradication of marijuana. Narcotics officers would rappel from helicopters into remote parts of Oahu to recover thousands of illegal marijuana plants that were often booby-trapped. By 1985, more than 47,280 pounds of marijuana were recovered, with an estimated street value today of over $2.5 billion. And while the streets of Honolulu were becoming safer, other changes were taking place within HPD. The Communications Division hired its first civilian radio dispatchers, allowing more officers to take on patrol duties. The communication system evolved from telephone lines and call boxes to wireless radio technology that allowed officers to be contacted in their cars and on the beat. Handwritten cards on a track eventually gave way to a computer-aided dispatch system that routed calls faster and more efficiently. Prior to 1975, a small group of women were assigned to the Juvenile Crime Prevention Division. Though they were known as police women, the scope of their duties was limited and they could not get promoted or even transferred to another division. This was changed after policewoman Lucille Abreu filed a federal lawsuit that required equal training and career opportunities for female officers and eliminated the department's minimum height requirement. As the department headed into the computer age, many new advances would occur in crime-fighting technology.
During Chief Douglas Gibbs' tenure, the department adopted a more global perspective to address national and international types of crime. This included the advancement of the HPD crime lab. Early criminalists and technicians processed evidence with a microscope and the few instruments available at the time. Today, the Scientific Investigative Section is the only full-service forensic laboratory in Hawaii and serves the entire Pacific region. The automated fingerprint identification system went live in 1990. Designed to verify the identity of arrested persons, the system also compares fingerprints recovered from a crime scene to fingerprints that are already in the system. It previously took up to 2 days to confirm identities. Today, it takes 15 minutes. Chief Gibb also introduced the highly popular Drug Abuse Resistance and Education, or DARE program. DARE's mission was to educate students to stay drug-free and to resist violence and gangs. The highlight of the program was DARE Day, a concert and rally where more than 15,000 students pledged to live drug and alcohol-free. In the 1980s, law enforcement shifted its emphasis from traditional policing to community policing. Chief Michael Nakamura championed this philosophy of community policing, encouraging residents and business owners to partner with the police in the fight against crime. Neighborhood security watches and citizen patrols flourished, serving as the eyes and ears of HPD. These groups continue to exist in communities across Oahu. Looking back at over 200 years of history, one has to wonder what lies in store for HPD in the 21st century and beyond.
Law enforcement technology developed rapidly from the beginning of the next century, and Chief Lee Donahue was quick to recognize this. His administration focused on officer safety, including the state-of-the-art equipment such as body armor vests for all officers. It was under Chief Donahue that HPD was awarded national accreditation by the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies, and HPD patrol vehicles were equipped with automated external defibrillators to save victims of cardiac arrest. Chief Donahue also co-founded the Honolulu Police Community Foundation, a non-profit organization that supports the department through private donations. Under Chief Boise Correa's leadership, crime dropped to its lowest level in 30 years. Public complaints to the Honolulu Police Commission were the lowest ever recorded, and all officer positions were fully staffed for the first time since the 1970s. His major initiatives, including the mandatory arrest of domestic violence suspects, banning of assault weapons, defibrillator training for officers, and the creation of the State Terrorist Warning Protocol. Chief Correa retired in 2009 and was succeeded by Chief Louis Kealoha. Chief Kealoha oversaw Hawaii's hosting of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Conference in 2011. Working with federal and state law enforcement, HPD helped to ensure the protection and safety of political and business leaders from throughout the Pacific. The Honolulu Police Department stands shoulder to shoulder with major police departments across the nation. Our officers are proud to serve and be a part of our community. We uphold the values of integrity, respect, and fairness, and serve and protect with aloha.